As a busy dad, I want to make the most of the rare occasions I have to sit down and get stuck into a game. When I do, the TV is covered in tiny paw prints, which serve as a reminder not to upgrade our particularly tired looking model anytime soon. It's also why I've been gravitating towards handheld gaming over the past few years. So when BenQ asked me to review their 4K gaming projector, the X300G, I got excited. I realised I had missed that experience of ploughing through a AAA title in a truly cinematic setting, but I was also sceptical as to how practical and immersive a gaming projector could be. Well, it turns out the X300G is not your typical projector. Out of the box, the X300G is simple to set up and get started. It comes with a pretty chunky power brick as well as a very nicely designed remote control, and the only manual installation you'll have to do is for the included Android TV stick. But if you just take a step back and look at the design of this projector, it's got a really cool retro aesthetic and it reminds me of a Star Wars droid. That's important because it's going to fit in any room around a family home. The hero of this projector is obviously that front torch, which is framed by a nice pop of red. The front pane of that plastic is really nice too, and it has these nice little Y designs etched into the front, which makes it a lot more grippy when you are carrying it around the house. You can definitely find more compact projectors and I would really like it to have a handle, but considering how many air vents the X300G has, I think that size is probably necessary to make sure it doesn't overheat. One thing you do get is a really nice kickstand that looks quite slim, but is actually very rigid and strong, and it's going to help you tilt the projector up towards a wall. That's important for a portable projector that you're going to be placing on different stands or tables around the house. Most of the time you are going to be angling it upwards, so it's great that this hinge feels so solid and is of such high quality. All of that means that in most setups this projector is going to be off axis in relation to the wall. That makes it really important to have a good focus and keystone mechanism that can keep everything looking crisp and in proportion. That's especially true of a projector like this, which has a 1.5 meter short throw, and therefore the optical zoom that comes included with this projector is incredibly important and very effective at giving you that clear image on your wall. You just have to press down one button on the remote and you get an autofocus that usually just looks perfect to me. And it's exactly the same with the 3D keystoning feature, although I did have to tweak that a little bit more often depending on the wall that I was working with. One really handy feature is that the projector will actually remember the settings you've had for each device. So if you have a fixed PlayStation 5 setup in the living room, but you want to come up into a different room like this to play the Nintendo Switch, then it should be able to replicate the settings of when you were last using that particular console. And yeah, this can do up to 100-inch screen for pretty much any device that will accept a USB-C cable. That goes for anything from an iPhone 15 all the way up to a PlayStation 5 or even a gaming PC. I've been doing a lot of work in the house recently and I actually just took this downstairs with my iPad to throw some video podcasts up on the wall while I was putting together some IKEA furniture. Yeah, that is a recipe for making silly mistakes with your IKEA build, but it was also great to actually have some stimulation and feel like I was learning while I was carrying out these monotonous tasks. But what we really want to hear about is gaming, right? So yeah, let's take a look. So that big torch at the front of the projector is not just for looks. It can actually project an image with 2000 ANSI lumens, which is very, very bright. And even if you don't have a perfectly dark room with blackout curtains, you're going to get a very good image up on a wall. I was slightly worried about some of the walls around this house because we have a lot of like pink and green paint, but so far being able to project onto those walls, you still get a very color accurate image with really high quality. Of course, the darker you get your room, the better the experience is going to be. The projector can run at 4K all the way up to 60 Hz, and it can go 1080p all the way up to 240 Hz. Games like Spider-Man 2 just look so epic up on the wall there. That game always feels like a movie anyway, and this just makes that even more so. Especially enjoyed alongside some of those IKEA snacks that I had to pick up on the way out. One big concern for projectors is whether the image is going to be able to keep up with the actual gameplay, but the X300G comes with a very low lag of 4 milliseconds. Now for me, just as a casual gamer who wants to play through story modes, that's not noticeable at all, and I just have a very perfect gaming experience playing through the projector. But if you do play first person shooters, it does have some modes that can assist you, including FPS crosshair that just boost the accuracy of your aim. Built into the device there are 3 different settings. including an RPG mode and an FPS mode, that just alter settings slightly in order to give you the best experience for the game that you're playing. There's also a piece of software called Setting Exchange that you can use to download color templates for specific games that have been made by fans. Obviously you're not going to get the same pixels per inch as on a smaller screen, but it's not something I really noticed as I was playing through these games. I was mostly just in awe of how good they looked up on the wall. By far the most impressive thing about this projector though has to be its sound reproduction. The X300G houses two 8-watt symmetrical speakers that are capable of spatial audio. That's powered by a Bon Jovi DSP chip, and the result is you get this spectacular surround sound audio. Now it does depend on what console you're using. For example, the Nintendo Switch is just not capable of producing this kind of spatial audio, but if you're playing through the PlayStation 5, you're going to be really blown away by just how much of a sense of direction you get from the audio itself. Even on less powerful games like on the Switch or the Steam Deck though, I've loved the audio reproduction of this projector. It just sounds very crisp. You can pick out the details of all the different instruments, and there is a real difference of playing this compared to my TV or on the handhelds themselves. Depending on where you place the projector, it's easy to trip up over wires and things like that. So what I've actually done is taken this Anker Powerhouse battery pack, which is kind of meant for camping trips and things like that, to set it up on a little step that I can move around my room and get a really nice position for the projector. And you know, you don't even really have to play these big titles to get the most out of this. I've been playing a lot of retro games on the Steam Deck, including Cheeky Cheeky Boys and Combat Cars, two Genesis games, and honestly I can't remember having this much fun playing those titles since I used to play them with my brother, sat in his bedroom and, you know, trying to sneak in an extra game before we had to run down for dinner. I've also been using this video as an excuse to try and get my Pokemon VGC team up to scratch. I haven't really been following for the past few formats, but now they've added some legendaries, so I'm trying to build a team around Miraidon. But you know, having those battles up on the wall, it does give you the sense that you are at a bit of an event, and it just makes you think of how good a projector like this could be for having friends around, playing family games, things like Mario Party. I think it would be really fun on this projector. Whether a projector like this is for you depends largely on how much blank space you've got available around your house and how much you really see yourself using it compared to something like a handheld console or a TV. For me at least, with a TV that's probably 8-9 years old at this point, this projector feels like a huge step up in the technology that I've got available, and it comes with the added bonus that my son is not going to be able to go and bash it with his toys. An outlay of £1,600 here in the UK though is a big investment for any piece of technology, so you really need to make sure that a projector is the right route for you before you go ahead and take the plunge. For me at least, I'm really looking forward to playing more games on this projector. I think it will be our go-to device for watching films when Gabriel's at his grandparents', and also using those moments in the evening to play through some of the big AAA titles that I don't always give myself time for. If something a little more handheld is for you, then check out one of these videos. I'll see you in a bit.